know, excuse me, this is not the first fracture show we've ever done. We did a couple of them on the Big Ten. Remember the Big Ten fracture, the Big Ten fracture grows during a couple of different events. One being the UC investment, the fracture in regards to that, and the in-person scouting scandal in Michigan, the fracture that it caused in the Big Ten. This is not our first PATC live show on a fracture within a conference. And it's not going to be our last. It isn't. It's not going to be our last, especially if these conferences grow with more membership, and they are. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do us well, please subscribe to our channel, smash the like button if you like our content, share the video with your family and friends, and do not forget to ring the notification bell because we could come on live later on tonight. We most definitely could. If you want to support this independent national college football rebel outpost with a donation to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel, just hit that $ where you make your comment, and I will get you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio. Come on in. Come on in. Come on into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. First of all, I want to thank Nathan from College Football Mafia for giving me an invite to join his show late last night. It was a fun show. It's always a fun time to be with Nathan, the Bama, and the BYU Cougar, and everything that went on that show last night. If you missed it, go check it out. And did I get too much in over the tip of my skis when I was on that show last night? Because Nathan and I, we were doing a little bit of a pretending, right? We were talking about more radical outcomes that could come from this show, from this event that's going on in the Big 12. We're not even close to that situation yet. We're not, we were just talking. Me and Nathan were just talking. We weren't causing any problems. But I did bring up a scenario which this thing could really start getting nasty, where this thing between the Red Raiders and the Big 12 could, the fracture could grow. And we would we could be talking about suits filing back and forth with each other. And at some point, some radical point that we're not even close to that situation, but at some point, the possibility of an expulsion. We're not there. Relax. Everyone's going to yell at me. Don Scruggs is going to yell at me. MBM is going to yell at me. Studzilla is going to yell at me. And I deserve it. Kind of. But as radical as those statements were last night, are they more holy smokes. Are you kidding me? Nobody is standing down on this. Nobody's giving, there is no grace out there. You've got the Attorney General of the state of Texas back in Texas Tech. You got Kessler, that lawyer. We're going to go through his comments. Isn't there some sort of... How can Kessler be involved in a... Kessler is the lawyer. Basically the man that the Power Four conferences have to go to get anything changed in that House settlement. He's like the acting boss of the play. He is the player union at this point. You've got Brett Yormark, and we're going to go through his short comments. But I would call them impactful comments. I'm interested to hear what you guys got to say, but he's, we all know, we all covered it. You and I, we all had a discussion on the strong words that some of the Big 12 athletic directors used. But they are all aligned on this. Their alignment is saying the following. Brendan Sorsby cannot play it down this season. That's the athletic director. The athletic directors. The 15 of them outside of Texas Tech. So, what happened? Yormark meets with Kansas State, BYU, and I believe Arizona was in that group, the presidents. And Brett Yormark says today, and I'm paraphrasing until we can read his comments verbatim, he says, yeah, the presidents are thinking like the athletic directors. At least the four of them that met with Brett Yormark today. Nobody's standing down on this. Nobody is. Nobody. We did a live show 2 days ago saying the Big 12 The live show 2 days ago was the Texas Tech needs to save itself. Yesterday we did a live show, the Big 12 needs to save itself. Now, nobody's standing down. I think the time has run out on standing down. I don't think anyone's we are in a major, serious situation. What the heck was that? My phone just went, This is a major situation. This is serious. As Brandon Marcello, and I'm just going to we're not going to go through we're going to go through a lot of stuff. I just want to take this little part out of the article that he just published here a little bit ago. The Big 12 vice. The Big 12 now sits in a vice. Move to sanction Texas Tech and face the legal exposure the Attorney General's office put in writing Thursday, which was today, or stand down and absorb the fury of every other athletic director in the league and risk the broader fallout across a sport already asking whether foundational rules mean anything at all. Before coming on live, we got a lot to get to here. So just buckle up, brace for impact. Viva Mexico, they defeat South Africa. Just relax, everybody. We're going to get to everything here. We're going to get to your phone calls, your very kind super chats, other comments. Before I came on live, I had one phone call that basically is telling me the following. We're screwed. We're screwed. We're screwed. I will get back to that. I will get back to that phone call later in the program. All right? And also, before I came on live here, I listened to a little bit of the Ross Dellinger podcast with Andy Staples. And again, Ross Dellinger said the following. This whole Brendan Sorsby thing has sparked up this conference governance, and it has sparked up the idea, that's the word he used, sparked up the idea of we just going to play amongst ourselves. That the SEC will play among themselves, the Big 10 will play among themselves until we get to the playoffs. We are way past DEFCON 1, ladies and gentlemen. We labeled this situation DEFCON 1 about 5-6 months ago. We were dragged over the coals, and now there's nothing that I can say that sounds absolutely ridiculous. Because this thing could go... This is possible college football's nuclear winter. And Greg the Cooler knows what nuclear winter is all about. We've got a lot to get through today, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to thank Zero Wiz. Zero Wiz being a member for 26 months. You are officially knighted cloak and dagger, my friend. Once again, 26 months. Thank you very much. Regarding the whole ordeal with Brendan Sorsby, if Pete Rose was still alive, he wished he had a judge. Regards about Pete Rose, I've been saying this for like a decade. Of course he couldn't play baseball once they found out that he gambled on the game. Of course he could not be a manager. Of course he could not be anywhere around this sport. But on the other hand, I believe Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame with a big old plaque that describes why he was kicked out of the game. Right? Because he gambled on sports, he gambled on baseball, and that can't be allowed. That's why he got kicked out of baseball. But I also would say that he should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. But I got a very, I don't know how you would call it, I got a very wide open, progressive idea about the Hall of Fame. I believe whatever you do between the white lines when it comes to the Hall of Fame, if you did enough, if you were good enough, if you were great enough, you should be in the Hall of Fame and then have something to describe, if you did something terrible to the game, which Pete Rose did. So in other words, if a player took steroids when he should not have taken steroids, and it was proven he had taken steroids, but he hit enough homers, he got enough RBIs, he had big enough batting average, he should be in the Hall of Fame. But if he was caught with steroids usage, PEDs, then there should be something to describe that in the Hall of Fame. But that's another story for another day. Thank you, Zero Wiz. I appreciate you being a member for 26 months. Stormy Cyclone, $5 holla. Thank you for starting us off today. I do appreciate it, Mr. Cyclone. Last Christmas, I talked to Santa. He said when he went over Minnesota, Rudolph's nose changed from red to blue. Just saying. I think that's a political comment. If he went over Minneapolis, if that's a political comment, if he went over the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, yes. Any other part of the state, it would be red. Thank you, Stormy Cyclone. Thank you for the good and the bad, both, whatever. Thank you for the $5 holla, Stormy Cyclone. Appreciate it very, very much. Steroids were not against the... So that's what I'm... I don't want to get into Major League... If you were great enough, good enough, no matter if you put too much pine tar in your bat, no matter what you did, on the baseball field, if you were great enough, you should be in the Hall of Fame. And if they did not catch you, they did not catch you. So it makes everything equal. But if they caught you, or if they catch you 5 years from now because they have a better way of testing old blood sample, whatever, add that to the plaque. But it don't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All right. Thank you, Stormy Cyclone. I do appreciate it very much. Welcome on in, everybody. Dave B., Rich Austin, Don Scruggs, Rod Nix, Illini Ted. The Fighting Illini is our spotlight team today. Spotlight Series, the Illinois Fighting Illini, team number 48 of our Spotlight Series. Holy smokes. Team number 48. So there it is. Illini Ted, we're doing your team today. Absolutely today. Rich Austin is in the house. Studzilla is here. MBM, Rod Nix, Gavin, yes. David Kreitzer. Of course, Zero Wiz, CFB Plus is in the house. Florida Man is here. Daniel Gorby is here. Mama Duck, Clemson Tiger. Who else? Oh, we got the Sun Devil. Sooner. Cope is in the house. Adam is here. Rodney Richborg. Purple and Gold is in the house. Who else came on in? Who else is here early? Bob Swanger, Buckeye Greg. Thank you. Appreciate it. Maniac Reactions, Canes fan 1993. 71 Big E's is in the house. Thanks for coming on in. 71 Big E's. Love the name. Yogi Buck. Yogi Buck is here. AZ Buckeye 96 is in the house. Appreciate it, Mr. Buckeye. Buckshot Kid. Azon the Kid. We got both kids coming on in. Illini Ted is all fired up. All fired up. The Architect is in the house. Okay. So we're going to go through again the Texas Tech Big 12 situation because both sides are now seem to be ready to go. They seem to be ready for a war. I cannot fathom for the life of me. The Big 12 has to do something. If you want to, yeah, they have to do something for the good of the game. I get all that, right? But they have to do something for the Big 12. You got 15 athletic directors, 15 presidents, 15 the whole athletic department. They're going to go after you. You've got to do something, and they will. I believe they will. I happen to believe they're going to do like the most they possibly can, and that is to make so the Texas Tech Red Raiders cannot play in the Big 12 championship game. I think that's where they're going to go. And then Texas Tech is going to sue the Big 12 and all that stuff. But the Big 12 is not only being looked at by the 15 other schools in the conference, but the Big 10 and the SEC, they are ready to take advantage. Those voices in the Big 10 and the SEC that want to do this breakaway, that want to do their whole thing on their own, they're looking for any advantage in that argument internally in those two conferences. They're looking for any argument that they can use for public relations if they pull the trigger. And Cody Campbell is giving them a gift of a lifetime. I don't think he knows it. I've heard people saying that Cody Campbell is playing 3D, 4D, 5D chess. I think Cody Campbell's playing chutes and ladders. And I think he got sucked down in a chute, and I think he's stuck in that chute. I don't think he's playing chess at all. I think he's screwing everything up for Texas Tech. I think he's screwing up the brand. I think he's screwing with the fans. I think he's screwing with the other 104 players on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. That's who I think he's screwing. Texas Tech University was the Red Raiders before Cody Campbell went there and played football, and Texas Tech will be there long after Cody Campbell and me and everyone else here is gone. I think Cody Campbell is screwing Texas Tech. He might think he's screwing with the Big 12, and he is. He might think he's screwing with the Big 10 and the SEC on Capitol Hill. But at the end of the day, I think he got too big for his britches, and I think he's screwing Texas Tech. Let me know. Let me know how wrong I got it once again in your comments, super chats, phone calls. We'll get to it all. First of all, and I will post the comments if I see them that completely disagree with me. I'm good with that. No problem at all. This is why we have this channel. But first, we got to go with the fight in Illini. Thank you, Studzilla. I will get you super chat momentarily here. Yes, Illini Ted, BTM has given me information. I posted some of that on my X account. I will get to that in this live show. College football PATC Spotlight Series. on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Quarterback, Caton House. Went from Michigan State, played a couple of years at East Carolina, and he blossomed last year for the Pirates. 3,300 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 65.9 completion percentage, 146.3 quarterback rating, throwing another 193 yards rushing, 2.3 average, again, sacks count against you. 9 rushing TDs. Hauser likes to take it in from the red zone. He is back in the Big Ten. Lafrey, the leading running back, who has had injury problems, nicked up. He was fantastic 2 years ago. He had an average of over 6 yards per rush. Last year, he barely played. I don't know if he's going to be RB number 1 or RB number 2. Hopefully, he's healthy. Hopefully, he will be healthy. But I believe this man is going to be the key running back for Illinois in 2026. Mr. Valentine. I think the young man is just scratching the surface. 614 yards rushing last year, 4.7 average per rush, 4 rushing touchdowns. Now, both running backs, Illinois don't use them out of the backfield. They barely had any receptions to both of them. I think Illinois might want to change that up a little bit. That's just my thoughts, but they do not have the running backs in their passing offense. Illinois is changing up their defense, a new coordinator. Illinois is going to a 3-3-5. That's what Brett Bielema wanted. He wanted to change it up. We'll see how that works. Wide receiver number 1, Hudson Clement. 36 receptions, 450 yards receiving, 12.6 average per reception, 3 receiving touchdowns. He did not have the year. That he had at West Virginia, his home state of West Virginia, playing for the Mountaineers 2 years ago. He had over 50 receptions. We'll see what happens this year. Hudson Clement, talented wide receiver, came over from West Virginia 2 years ago, played for Illinois last year. Matthew Bailey, the captain of the defense, 59 solo tackles, 76 combination, 4 tackle for losses. This is the Illinois Fighting Illini football schedule. Again, they play Duke. Once again, they play Duke. We're going to learn a lot about Illinois and Duke in that game. They start the season at Ohio State. They start the Big Ten season at the Shoe. That's a difficult place to start the season. At home against Purdue, then on the road to Michigan State, and then they got to play Oregon. At Maryland, and I think the Nebraska game is the key game of the season for Illinois. If they win that game, UCLA, Iowa, Northwestern, they could get on a roll, finish strong. Those last 5 games, go 4-1. Illinois, again, looks probably going to have a pretty good season once again. But are they going to be as good as they were 2 years ago? I don't. I'm going to bet against it. Illinois Fighting Illini right behind my beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers. Gophers 8, Illinois 9. Can I see Illinois finishing ahead of Minnesota? Yeah. Can I see Illinois finishing ahead of Iowa? Yeah. Even ahead of Penn State? Yeah, I think they got a higher ceiling than number 9. Do they have a lower floor than number 9? Absolutely. They could finish behind Washington, Wisconsin. Somewhere around that 7 to 11 spot for Illinois. Anyways, that is the Fighting Illini Spotlight. Again, we've got a packed program. Can't really spend any more time on the Fighting Illini of Illinois, just like I have not been able to spend too much time on any Spotlight team of the last 4 that we've done. But that gives you a little bit of information on the Fighting Illini. New quarterback, Caden Hauser. They're moving Caden Fegan, the running back. They're moving him to tight end. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. A lot more information. Again, when we do our final prediction, order finish prediction for every conference in the early month of August, we'll do more talk about Illinois, the new defensive coordinator, Brett Bielema, and everything else with Illinois. All right, here we go. 71 Big East. Craig, they're not going to pass the bill. Big Ten and SEC, too much money invested with those lobbyists and politicians. Well, that's a good segue. Before we get into the Big 12 fracture, before we get into that, we're not going to go through this whole article because I want to get to your phone calls and comments as soon as I possibly can. The SEC and the Big Ten want changes to the college sports bill, and the senators who wrote it, they may not budge. 2/3 of the way through the College Sports Roundtable event Wednesday on Capitol Hill, a noise began to emanate from the far side of the congressional meeting room. Thump, thump, thump. Thump, thump. Perhaps on the other side of the far wall, making such a racket is the elephant. You know, the elephant in the room, or in this case, outside of the room, the fictitious one, the one that so many often ignore. There is no ignoring the elephant in or out of this room. There are 2 elephants. In fact, the SEC and the Big Ten, and it's tough to avoid their lumbering frames. After all, the college sports industry, 2 biggest stakeholders, oppose the legislation that stands to regulate the industry itself, an unusual and uncomfortable predicament. The U.S. senators who authored the latest college athletic legislation to protect College Sports Act addressed those elephants in their own way during and after an hour-long roundtable Wednesday of the mostly non-power league administrators and coaches. Perhaps this roundtable and perhaps the bill itself was about the little guys. You might say Ted Cruz's opening comments here alluded to as much, calling out the unregulated bidding war of college sports, hurting mostly the athletes and schools with the least leverage. Chris Coons talked about it as well. But if you're probably reading this column, as Ross Dellinger wrote, it's for the intel on the elephants. The Big Ten and the SEC sent to the Senate Commerce staff members suggested revisions of the bill policy on Tuesday. After each of the university presidents' group met separately for about 30 minutes. The revisions are believed to be critical in guarding the support of the 2 conferences, SEC and the Big Ten, onto a bill that grants the NCAA narrow antitrust exemption to enforce the one-time transfer rule, 5-year eligibility standard, ban pro players, and police a stricter way of the revenue cap share on athletes. But it is also entitled to the bill provides a way for schools, if they choose, the option to pool media rights, something that the elephants are adamantly against. The Big Ten and the SEC revisions of the Title II of the bill are expected in the coming days. However, and this is the last part we're going to go in this article, because we're going to go into the fracture of the Big 12. But each senator has made clear that they are against removing the rights pooling provision that right now is optional but could flip to mandatory, or the concept that prohibits the 2 conferences from further expanding. These are non-starters, quipped one legislative staff member. What about the other changes? I think Senator Cruz did a really good job of telling the presidents on Tuesday that this is a compromise already. So if you think you're going to change it massively, that's not going to happen, Cantwell said Wednesday after the round table event. There is more to the article. Go to Yahoo Sports, go to Ross Dellinger's X account. You can go find it. We're not going to go through any more of it. You got the gist. Big Ten and SEC wants revisions of those two important things that they believe in Section 205. And Cantwell and Cruz are saying, nah, we're not doing it. Cruz also said in the article he feels pretty confident. He feels pretty confident that this bill is going to pass without SEC and Big Ten support. Think about that. That this bill could pass the Senate and the House, signed by President, without the SEC Big Ten support. Now, if that happens, I got to eat a double cheeseburger with a couple of different cheese on the burger. So I'm not even going to be able to survive this event if it happens. But I will, and this would have been our show today if it wasn't for the escalating war that is happening in the Big 12, because that's basically what it is right now. This would have been our show today. This would have been our show today, and I would have been talking like this. I would be asking everybody, but especially fans of Big Ten and SEC schools who are against this bill. I would be asking the following question. I'm going to go ahead and ask it anyways, but this is not the main part of our show because there's so many things else is going on here. But my question would be, if this bill passes, if it looks like it's going to pass, right? We get a vote in the Senate, it passes, looks like it's going to get a vote in the House, that the bill is going to be brought up to the president late summer. It's going to actually pass before the elections. What do you think the SEC and the Big Ten does at that point? Do you believe they do the breakaway? They say we're not even involved in any of this stuff? We don't want your governance. We don't want anything. Or does the Big Ten and SEC look at it and go, this is terrible, but we'll go ahead and not break away, but this bill is not law yet, so now the plans that we had with our conference, we'll just go ahead and speed it up and get it done right now. In other words, I don't know, the Big Ten says Notre Dame, because they can talk to Notre Dame. They can talk to anybody at this point. Notre Dame, do you want in? Because if you do not want in, we're going to take a couple of ACC schools. They're going to file the notice of withdrawal. They cannot join us in 27, but they can join us July 1st, 2028. We're going to get this done. We're going to get our expansion done before this bill becomes law of the land. Do you think that's crazy? Do you think that's a possibility? Do you think that's a Big Ten and SEC option? Let me know in the comments section and we'll talk about it, or in a phone call. But I'm just saying, the Big Ten and the SEC are so much against this bill. It goes at the core. It goes at their sovereignty. It also, in a matter of years, it's going to go after their... It goes after their existence. That's what they believe. Anyways, put down your comments in the comment section below the video. That is becoming... that whole story is massive unto itself. However, We got to get to something else. Texas, the state of Texas attorney, Ken Paxton, writes a letter. Now, that letter is hard to read. And I'm not going to read the letter. If you want to go read the letter, after the show, I will provide a link in the description box. But I don't have it for you to read right now. But I'm going to paraphrase, okay? I'm going to unprofessionally paraphrase this letter. Ken Paxton is basically saying, don't do it, Big 12. Don't do it. Don't litigate. Don't sanction. Don't get in our way. This is a judge ruling. You cannot get in front of a judge ruling on Sorsby. He is suspended for the first 2 games, but then he can play college football. That is what the letter says. Now, if anybody in the comment section wants to say, Greg, you left out A, B, C, D, go ahead and I'll read your comment. But that is what the letter says. It says, don't do it, Big 12. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's what it's saying. This is my interpretation, my Robbinsdale, Minnesota education interpretation of this letter. Don't do it. Don't even think about it. Because if you do, you're going to have the state of Texas involved. Well, this is Brett Yormark's response to that. The Big 12 commissioner. Statement on the behalf of the Big 12 commissioner, Brett Yormark. Shortly before the start of today's Big 12 Executive Board meeting, the conference received a letter from the Texas Attorney General Office notifying the conference of potential legal action from Texas Tech if the conference pursues certain actions under its bylaws. We, the Big 12, we are taking time with our legal counsel to understand the concerns of the state, and we will meet again with the full board next week. Now again, today they met with BYU president, the leaders of BYU, Kansas, Kansas State, and Arizona. Back to the letter of the Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark. We moved forward with our executive board today in preparation for our full board meeting on Monday. We had a good and informative discussion. Here is the PATC money shot of the whole damn show. Sentiment among the executive board, BYU, Kansas, Kansas State, Arizona, was no different from what we heard from the athletic directors earlier this week. Then the second money shot of today. Our discussion with the full board would determine our course of action, and all options remain on the table. All options remain on the table. Now, let me hold on one second here. My bad. This is a live show. I got a lot of stuff coming at me left and right. Hold on. I just want to show you Man, I hope I have this. I believe I posted. Please, I think I posted it last night. Maybe I didn't. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, hold. Can't believe I didn't. Okay, here we go. I do apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna blame the producer of this show. I want everybody. Look, I am the original Minnesota moron. You guys are the PATC Einsteins. I want you to look at section 1.10 of the Big 12 bylaw. I want you to look at it. I want you to read it. I want you to tell me what you think it says. 1.10, the amendments. These bylaws may be altered, amended, or repealed. And new bylaws may be approved by the board of directors at any annual meeting, regular meeting, or special meeting. Called for the purpose only by the affirmative vote of 75% or more of the disinterested directors entitled to vote on such an issue, except for the provisions of section 1.52 and bylaws relating to matters for which a greater affirmative vote is required pursuant to section 1.52, which may be amended only by the affirmative vote of the number of directors that would be required to take action provided in by such bylaw. Now, again, I'm not sure what 1.52 is, but it seems to me, and I have been kind of given a heads up on this, that in the Big 12 bylaw, which Texas Tech and Kansas and Oklahoma State and UCF and West Virginia and Cincinnati and everybody else, they sign on the bylaw, they sign on the dotted line. It kind of gives the presidents kind of the ability to have a special meeting to alter it. Okay, I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that part of the bylaw. But again, as we have mentioned here, and now let me go back to this. Hopefully I can find it. And of course I can't. Anyways, it does talk about, and I can't find the slide right now, but it does talk about bylaw 3.6. We did a live show on it yesterday, but I did not save it. 3.6 bylaw that basically, it looks like it gives the Big 12 the ability to sanction a school for not playing, to keep that school from playing in their championship game, in their playoff events within the conference. In other words, you could stop a team from playing in the Big 12 baseball tournament or the Big 12 basketball tournament or the college or their conference championship game in football. I believe that is what the Big 12 is going to do. I believe they're going to sanction Texas Tech and not allow them to play in the Big 12 championship game if Sorsby plays it down. Because literally Texas Tech has not done anything wrong yet, other than they will not affirm that Sorsby will not be playing this year. Now let's get to, that's not all. So you got the Big 12 commish. You got the Big 12 commish saying this part. Go ahead, CFB+, send that to me, and hopefully I can find bylaw 3.6 or 66. Thank you, Dante's in Purgatory. Hopefully I can find that quickly. Rod Nick saying Big 12 bylaw 3.6 is the mechanism. Yes, and we showed that yesterday in a live show. So then, Brett Yormark says this, correct? Well, who jumps into the fray? None other than Jeffrey Kessler, who is all over the place. Noted attorney Jeffrey Kessler has sent a letter to the Big 12 warning of potential litigation if Texas Tech is sanctioned by the Big 12. So you got the Attorney General warning the Big 12, the Attorney General of the state of Texas warning the Big 12. Then you've got Brett Yormark saying what he just said, which we showed his comments here. And then after that, Jeffrey Kessler sends a letter to the Big 12. And we're going to just go through the bullet points here. Brandon Marcello reports, Kessler says that the Big 12 is bound by the judge's order as an entity in active concert or participation with the NCAA. Punishing Tech for complying with a court order, he argues, is itself a violation of that order. The bigger hammer is antitrust. Kessler calls a boycott of Tech or Sorsby a per se violation with no defense, and says the conference and every boycotting school would owe substantial damages, tortious interference with Sorsby's NIL deals. The letter also serves as a litigation hold. Kessler orders the Big 12, its presidents. Woo! The letter also serves as a litigation hold. Kessler orders the Big 12, its presidents, athletic directors, coaches, and compliance staff to preserve every document and message touching the Sorsby or the order. Kessler, what does it say about the Big 12 if it decides to lawlessly violate a court order? That's the question. And that is why we brought it up early in the program. I'm going to bring it up one more time. Brandon Marcello then followed up with an article. We're not going to go through that. I do want to get to your phone calls, your super chats, your comments. So I'm just going to touch upon it one more time. After you have read, at least I didn't really read it to you, but the Attorney General Paxton, what he wrote, I paraphrased it, basically saying, don't do it, Big 12, don't do it. And then after reading what the commissioner said, Brett Yormark, and then after reading what Kessler said, let's read this one more time now that you understand the context of what has happened in just today. All of this did not happen yesterday or the day before. All of this happened today. Brandon Marcello, the Big 12 now sits in a vice. Move to sanction Texas Tech and face the legal exposure the Attorney General's office put in writing Thursday today, or stand down and absorb the fury of every other athletic director in the league and risk the broader fallout across the sport already asking whether foundational rules mean anything at all. You all know what I think. You all know what I think. And I think they should play the games. I don't think they should forfeit. I think they should keep their media rights intact. I don't think that, just my opinion, I want to hear your opinion. I'm just giving you mine. I think the Big 12 should play out the schedule. If Sorsby plays Friday night against Houston on September 18th, I think that's the date. That could be wrong. I think it's September 18th, Friday night, week 3. If Sorsby plays in that first Big 12 game, I think after serving his 2-game suspension per the court, I think the Big 12 should just play it out. But I think the Big 12 should tell everybody in the clear after next week that if Texas Tech does play Sorsby, they're not allowed to play in the Big 12 championship game. They're not allowed to be the Big 12 champion. They're not allowed to get that automatic berth in the CFP. Maybe they can make the playoffs as an at-large team. That's up to the CFP LLC to decide. But we, the Big 12, we're not going to allow a school that violates the rule that we all agree upon, that you don't play a player. You do not play a player who has bet on the sport. That is proven, that he has admitted to, and he's admitted to an addiction just a few months before. That's what I think the Big 12 is going to do. I think that's what they should do. They have to do it. Can you imagine the Big 12 not doing anything at all? Can you imagine the Big 12 not doing anything at all at this point? I don't know. I mean, like, you might have, the Big 12 might have big. Justin Lucas, long time. I appreciate that CFB Plus. I can make that work. I'm going to show that here in a little bit. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much for your help. We're going to show you what sanction of the member is. Hold on one moment. I do want to show you guys Justin Lucas, longtime PATC family member. We were talking today, and he said, "This is what should happen next." I agreed. I stole his idea, like I often do, to make myself look half intelligent. This is what I put on my X account. After Paxton, after what Yormark said, what after Kessler said, this is what I said. It's time for the AGs in the states of Texas Tech, 2026 future Big 12 opponents, to respond in kind. In other words, the Red Raiders road games, they better not play Sorsby, because the Attorney General is going to hammer on Texas Tech. I think that should be something, at least, that the other AGs should consider. Now we are going to get to your comments and your phone calls. Hold one moment here. Let's get to this. It's hard to read, but I'm going to go ahead and read it here. 3.6 Big 12 bylaw. Sanction of a member. The conference may sanction a member by the affirmative vote of a supermajority. This would be 12 out of 15. We've talked about this before. You do not count Texas Tech. They're off to the side. 12 out of 15 votes. And it sounds like that's a number they can reach. The affirmative of a supermajority of the disinterested directors at any meeting of the directors at which the directors, representatives of the members that are subject of such a vote has been given reasonable prior notice. And again, so you want to act on this pretty quickly, right? The football season's coming up. June 22nd is the NFL supplemental draft. You give the young man, Sorsby, an opportunity to still jump in that supplemental draft. Given a reasonable prior notice and reasonable opportunity to be present and to be heard. A supermajority of the disinterested directors may take such action after the members' opportunity to be heard. A supermajority of the disinterested directors determines that such member has violated any provisions of these bylaws or the rules and other regulations established from time to time by the board of directors that govern the conference or the grant of rights agreement. Number 2, engage in any action or a course of conduct materially adverse to the best interest of the conference taken as a whole. That's the one. Taken or omitted to take any action that could be the basis of withdrawal as described above by but that's the one. Engage in any action or the course of conduct materially adverse to the best interest of the conference taken as a whole. To play Brendan Sorsby, this is what the Big 12 perspective, this is what they would say. Playing Brendan Sorsby in Big 12 conference play after he had violated a rule that is NCAA, that every school, including Texas Tech, knows it's a violation. If you bet on the sport, your eligibility, come on. You're not going to be eligible. Again, the NCAA, they lost this case thus far in the state of Texas. Now, what Cody Campbell is arguing, what Kessler is arguing, what the Attorney General is arguing, that the Big 12 does not have the ability to even act on this. So what you're saying is, if you get a lawyer anywhere in your state, you can take away the power from everybody. Not just the NCAA, but the conference. On the one rule that everybody knows and everybody has ever agreed upon. This, by the way, this is not a bug. This is not a bug in Cody Campbell's bill. This is the feature. This is what he's wanted. Maybe not in this particular story, but he wants control. He's always wanted control. The very first save in college sports, it was all about him and his government entity and big money, big lawyers in the courts to have control over everything. And he's using the Big Ten and the SEC as his boogeyman. That's what he's been doing. That is the game he's been playing. And I called him out on day frickin' 1. September 9th, baby, 2 years ago. Because it was obvious what he was doing. This is not even about the Big 12. You think he cares about the Big 12? Honestly? Really? He's never cared about anything. You want more evidence? Houston and Texas Tech are playing on a Friday night, and there was no prior agreement within the Big 12, no prior agreement with their media companies, no prior agreement with the athletic directors, with the teams, none. No prior agreement that the Red Raiders would not play at home on a Friday night. So Yormark puts them, the Big 12 puts them a very valuable game that's going to get a big time number. Houston, Red Raiders, the Cougars on a Friday night. And what does Cody Campbell do? He doesn't even do it in silence. He does it in public. He scorns the commissioner. He throws the commissioner. He drags him over the coals just because he was scheduled on a Friday night. Think about that. Think about the level, as Paul Feinbaum said once again. He's trying to tell everybody, as Paul Feinbaum said once again on the Bo Bishop show today, this bill, I know I'm going back and forth on these issues, but it's all tied to one guy. This bill, this saving college sports bill, written by Cody Campbell and written, supported, and funded by sports capital private equity. Why? Why are they in cahoots? Because they want control. They want control. They don't want the conferences to have control. They don't want the schools to have control. They don't want them to have control of their own scheduling anymore. Think about that. They don't even want them to have control of their scheduling. This bill sounds so good when you're pictured, when you're battling your enemies. But deep down, this bill is about control. Cody Campbell, your quarterback that you gambled on, no pun intended, because Indiana wanted him, Miami wanted him, they could have gotten him, but it happened to be you that got him, has been gambling on the sport. And everybody knows if you gamble on the sport, you cannot play in the sport because you are damaging the sport. You are damaging the credibility of the competition of every single game that young man could play. He could play in the NFL. He can make money. He can get a job. He can go get his master's degree. He can do whatever he wants, but he can't play college football. College football has the right to say that, for God's sakes. I don't care how evil the NCAA is. I don't care how evil the Big 12 is. Of course, these associations, freedom of association, by the way, Cody Campbell, which you do not believe in, freedom of the Big 12. To be in the Big 12 is a privilege. It's a privilege. It's not a right. You cannot sit here and go, we're going to be part of the Big 12 as long. No. No. You sign and the bylaws. You signed it. You're part of the Big 12. It's a privilege. It's not a right. I've been talking about the radical. I have begun talking about the radical outcomes that could happen. And I'm going to talk about them right now. And I got a feeling that a lot of you are going to turn this live show off and you're going to say, Greg, he's on to something, or he's on something, and he's probably on something. I'm on water today. But I am going to bring up this radical stuff right now, because before we get to your comments, the Big Ten themselves did not prohibit playing Texas Tech. Karan Shakar, do you pay attention to what I say on this show? The Big Ten, I don't think the Big 12 should prohibit playing Texas Tech. I think they should play them during the season. But they should not be playing in the Big 12 championship game. That is a privilege. They should be sanctioned. Pretend. We're going to do a little bit pretending here. Because I said this on Nathan Brown's College Football Mafia show last night, and it sounded radical. It sounded crazy. But everything that has happened today, maybe it doesn't sound so crazy after all. Think about this. Think about this. Sorsby plays against Houston. The Red Raiders defeat Houston. There's court cases going back and forth between Kessler, Attorney General of the Big 12. But again, he's able to play. The Red Raiders stack up win after win after win after win after win. They've got a great football team. Joey McGuire did a great job last year. They're stacked on defense. Great backfield. Incredible backfield. They go all the way to the Big 12 championship game, and the Red Raiders win the Big 12 championship game. Then they go in the playoffs. They may win a game. Maybe they lose the whatever. It doesn't matter. Let's say they're eliminated after the first round, second round, whatever. What do you think happens next year? Think about the outcome that Sorsby actually plays and the Red Raiders actually win. Let's say the Red Raiders defeated, I don't know, BYU in the finals. Or they defeated Utah in the finals. Or whoever. They defeated Oklahoma State in the finals. Playing a man who gambled on this sport. What do you think the future is of Texas Tech being in the Big 12? Do you think it's just going to be kumbaya the following year? Do you think everything's going to be okay? Do you think the Big 12's ever going to look at the Red Raiders the same ever again? I asked you that question. At some point next year, let's say all that happens. Let's say the Texas Tech does not back down. We're just speculating here. I'm not reporting nothing. I don't know what's going to happen. We're just speculating. Texas Tech does the whole thing. Sorsby plays the games. They win the Big 12. They go to the playoffs. I'm going to ask the question. Would the Big 12 consider expulsion for the Red Raiders next year? Because the Red Raiders did not care about any of the Big 12. Like, they didn't care about the number one tenet, the number one basic rule in college football. You cannot bet on the sport and play. Now, if the Big 12 went to expel the Red Raiders, what, the Red Raiders are going to take the Big 12 to court? You can't expel us. You can't take us out of this guy. I mean, where is this thing going? This is bad. This is really, 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 really bad. This is a fracture this is the Grand Canyon fracture. But how much worse can it get? Vox Quindaro says, I betcha expulsion is on the table. Yormark said they are considering all options. Vox Quindaro is absolutely correct. Vox Quindaro, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, we're going to put it up here. Our discussions with the full board will determine our course of action, and all options remain on the table. Now, of course, it's just a guess. I really don't think expulsion is on the table now. But think about it. Vox, let me ask you, Vox. The Jayhawks, the new quarterback, they have a magical season. A magical season. And they go to the Big 12 championship game. Lance Leipold, Andy Kolnicki back. Everything's back at Kansas. New stadium, renovated stadium. Fans are going crazy. They play Texas Tech Raiders in the championship game and they lose. Do you think it all ends at that point? Like, what is victory to the Texas Tech Red Raiders? What is victory? Victory is you do all of this so a young man can play 10 regular games in one season and he can play in the Big 12 championship. And let's say you win the Big 12. Is that victory? Is that victory enough for what you're doing for your university, what you're doing in the Big 12? Is this victory? This ain't victory. You're blowing a hole right through your brand. You are blowing a hole. Your relationship with Big 12 members right now absolutely suck. This is victory, even if you win all those games. You won the Big 12 championship last year. Congratulations. You're going to go and win the Big 12 championship game this year. That's victory. You know what? It's not victory. It's not victory, but it is control, right? It's control. Cody Campbell cannot abide having a quarterback that they spent millions of dollars on not being able to play football because he bet on the sport. He does not want the Big 12 to have that power. He does not want an NCAA to have that power. He doesn't want anybody to have any power in anything. Allegedly. Big 12 fracture grows. What is the end game? I mean, what is the end game? Can anyone truly imagine the Big 12 just letting this go? And you know what? I keep adding on. Look, the SEC and the Big 10, they might break away. They're looking at the Big 12, blah, blah. Forget about all that. Of course that's added. That's in the story. But even forget about all that. The Big 12 itself. It's like the and I know Michigan, I got it. Me and the Michigan Wolverine fans, we've had this detente going on. We're back together. We're friendly. But I keep bringing up Michigan as an example. Now they're getting upset with me again. Tony Petitti had to act. Like, he had to do something. And he did what he could do in the Big Ten bylaws. And the horse was already out of the barn. The Michigan story is different because the horse was already out of the barn. Michigan had already won all these games, and he could suspend the coach, which he did, a fine, which he did. At the end of the day, Michigan did not appeal and did not take the Big Ten to court. The evidence was insurmountable. And Michigan does want to be a part of the Big Ten. So they stood down. They won their championship and they stood down. But Texas Tech, if it isn't, am I being Am I being unfair to say if it wasn't this, it would be something else? What rule will the Red Raiders abide by with Cody Campbell as the chair, Kirby Holcutt as athletic director, and Joey McGuire as the head coach? Now remember, the Red Raiders really haven't done anything wrong yet. They haven't. Sortby hasn't played. Sortby went to court. A crazy ruling by a crazy judge, in my opinion. But the Red Raiders have not come out and said the Red Raiders have not come out and said we're not playing him. He's not going to play. He violated a rule that everybody knows, and most serious rule that goes at the heart of the integrity of the game. But the Red Raiders have not played him yet. But you listen to Cody Campbell in those interviews, you listen to Joey McGuire, the Red Raiders are saying it's up to us, it's up to him. If he wants to play, he'll play. And there's nothing that the Big 12 can do because of a court ruling in the state of Texas. So my question to Cody Campbell and everybody else is, so nobody can run college sports but these local judges? That's where we're at, Cody. Nobody can do anything. If you got a local judge, and I'm not saying he's in his pocket, I have no idea, it's not even doesn't even matter. But if the judges are now the ones that are running college football, it doesn't matter if it's not NCAA. The Big 12 cannot make any rulings. They're going to have to check with you, Cody. The Big 12 can't make any rulings whatsoever. They're never going to be able to sanction Texas Tech because they got to check in with you, Cody. That's where we're at. What do you think the Big 12 is going to do? Do you think they're going to do anything at all? If you think they're going to do something, what are they going to do? Before I get to Town Hawk, very generous super chat. Thank you to Town Hawk. I very much appreciate it. I just want to put this question out, and then I'm going to get to Town Hawk here. I'm going to ask a poll question. Should the Big 12 make it impossible for the Red Raiders to play in Big 12 CCG? That's supposed to say Big 12 CCG. Okay. Tay-Town Hawk, super chat. Thank you very much, sir. I do appreciate it. Easy. We still get in a large bid. Rock Chalk Jayhawk. If Kansas lost to Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game, Kansas still gets a at-large bid. That's a possibility. It could happen. It could happen. Remember, though, this year, unlike last year, this year, the winner of the Big 12 championship game gets an automatic berth. Last year, that wasn't the case. Duke won the ACC championship game last year, but they did not make it to the playoffs. So the Big 12 championship game is even more valuable than it ever was. If you can get into that Big 12 championship game and win that thing, you're in the playoffs. It don't matter if you're 8-5, 9-4, 7-6. You're in the playoffs. So, all right. I'll give you guys a little bit more time on the vote. Right now, it's 85 to 15. Yes. 15% says no. The Red Raiders should not be sanctioned. The Red Raiders should be able to get to the Big 12 championship game. Thank you to Town Hawk. Appreciate it very much. Let's get to Studzilla. $5 holler. Thank you so much, Studzilla. I appreciate it. I'll be able to get these super chats now. I just wanted to get through the monologue. Studzilla. Cody Campbell colors outside the lines and tell you he colored inside the lines. Thank you, Studzilla. Thank you for the $5 holler. Thank you for your generosity. Very much appreciated, sir. Thank you so very much. Come on, Greg. That ain't water. That is water. That is water. Pure life. Bussoff 95 $5 holler. Thank you very much, sir. Super chat. You are on the right track. Big 12 makes Tech ineligible for CCG. Withholds distribution for each Big 12 game Sorsby plays and considers expulsion later. Now, you are more aggressive than I am on that, Bussoff 95. I would not open up, if I was the Big 12, I would not open myself up to all that. I think taking away the CCG, I think it's the simple avenue which the Big 12, it's the Big 12 championship game. It's their event. It's not the NCAA. It's not the College Football Playoff LLC. It's their event. I think that is like the one thing that they could win a court case on, in my opinion. The expulsion, I don't think they should even threaten that right now. I don't think they should. We're talking, we're pretending, we're just speculating. I don't think Yormark should say that in public next week. I think you should keep that on the down low. I don't think they need to go there yet. And they probably will never go there. But I say that, but the small chance that they do go there, that small chance I think has grown over the last 24 hours. In my opinion. It is crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right. 87% says yes, the Big 12 should sanction the Texas Tech Red Raiders not being able to get into the Big 12 championship game. Justin Lucas, somewhere Jim Phillips is sitting in his office thinking, thank God it isn't me dealing with the attorney generals and the lawyers again. Somebody asked me, Justin Lucas, in a DM today, do you think the ACC would be interested in Texas Tech? If Texas Tech feel that they needed to leave the Big 12? I shook my head no. No. I shook my head no, and I typed out no. It sounds good on paper, right? SMU, Texas Tech, But does Jim Phillips really want to contend with Cody Campbell? I don't think so. Sorsby plays and creates a Deion effect for Texas Tech viewership. I do think that would happen. I think that would happen. Nick Kelso, Greg, who in the Big 12 wants to continue putting up with Tech's BS? Vote them out when their crap continues. Again, it could happen. That's why we brought it up. That's why we brought up the crazy scenario. But again, you're gonna want that to be your last bullet in the gut. You do not want to start with that because nobody in the Big 12 wants to be expelled from the Big 12. Like, everybody wants to, they're going to give the Red Raiders as much rope as possible. As much, But in the last 24 hours, it's gotten even more heated. The Attorney General took the Red Raiders' side on this. Jeffrey Kessler, the lawyer who's involved in the House settlement, took the Red Raiders. He's with Sorsby. Like, the Big Ten and the Southeastern Conference, they got to be looking at this going, what the hell? Like, this Kessler guy, that's the guy we got to deal with on everything, on the House settlement, and now he's involved in this? That's got to be a conflict of interest. But whatever. I mean, and we talked about it yesterday. The people that want to do the breakaway in the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten were not the majority. They have not been the majority of either conference until recently. Their argument keeps getting more powerful within the conferences. And now the Sorsby thing. Woo! All right, let's open up the phone lines. Opening up the phone lines, 763-260-1333, 763-260-1333. I do want to thank Zero Wiz, Stormy Cyclones, Sadzilla, Town Hawk, and Busoff 95 for your generosity for your super chat. I very much appreciate it.
From
Rick.
Rick is on the line. The floor is yours.
Well, it was a nice victory for Mexico there with a 2-0.
Yeah. 3 red cards in that game. 3 red cards.
Yeah, they carry over.
Yeah.
I think this is an evil plot that's going on by a mad scientist by the name of Brett Yormark. And his plan is to get enough votes, I guess it would be 12 of the 16 votes, to expel the Red Raiders and immediately take a second vote to replace them with the Connecticut Huskies.
Interesting. I haven't even taken a thought about what would be the. Again, I don't think that's in the cards right now. But if we're just pretending, would it be UConn or would it be a football forward school like a UTSA, North Texas?
Well, with UConn, you get independence, so you could, the scheduling is.
Yep.
Bam,
right.
just slam right in.
Easier to get. Yep.
They could play all of the teams that the Red Raiders are going to play,
Yeah.
and you could just buy out the contracts for the games that they were scheduled to play with whoever they do play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his dream, not mine.
Yeah.
That's his dream, not.
Yeah. Interesting.
Have a good day.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Interesting point. What would happen if if at some point, again, we're just talking. I know someone's going to say on X, Greg said the Big 12 is expelling Texas Tech. No. But if it would happen next year or whatever.
From
Patron, can you hold for just one moment, please?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it, sir. Heartbreak 25, super chat. Bam. Thank you, sir. Heartbreak 25. Sadly, the Big 12 has a cancerous limb that can infect the other conferences. The breakaway is now a necessity for survival of the sport we all love. Again, today on their podcast, Ross Dellinger reported that this has sparked more of the breakaway talk, and the breakaway talk that involves every school in the conference playing each other only. So the more radical breakaway. That conversation has sparked up once again. That's one of the options on the table. I don't think that's the leading option. But again, this kind of stuff, that's why they're looking at the Big 12. And again, your mark, again, in that advice, Big 12 does not want to lose any more. They don't want the Big 10 and the SEC playing 10, 11, 12 conference games only with themselves. The Big 12 doesn't want anything of that to happen. They don't want to be looking like a bunch of schmucks in the eyes of the SEC and the Big 10. They've got to act. They've got to act somewhere, somehow. They're definitely in the vice. Thank you, Heartbreak 25. I appreciate your $5 holler. Thank you for your generosity. Patron, thank you for your patience. Thank you very much. The floor is yours.
No problem, Greg. Hey, so Greg, I'll try to be quick. So 2 things. The first one is, okay, so I'm not a lawyer, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm not a lawyer at all, so I got, this is like a lot of mumbo jumbo to me.
Yeah.
So the thing about Brendan Sorsby, right, is like he has not been found like guilty, not guilty, eligible, ineligible. Technically, he has been granted an injunction, which is like a postponement of his lawsuit against the NCAA, right? Mm-hmm. Which is a postponement to, I believe, February 8th. Yep. And the idea is that they cannot sort of like proactively punish him for something that he has not officially been found in the wrong for. Like, we in the court of public opinion, we have all the information. We can say, yeah, the guy shouldn't play. But like, in this legal world of technicalities and all that, the idea is that they cannot, it would lead to irreparable harm for him or for Trinidad Chambliss not to get to play while their lawsuit is resolved at a later date. Is that kind of the thought?
Yeah, that's the thought. But, there's been a lot of players who get suspended from their team who have not officially been convicted in a civil case or a criminal case. So
correct.
But go ahead.
So no, I agree. So obviously Texas Tech, they're not backing down. So here's like my thought of what maybe like what Cody Campbell might be trying to do is, okay, let's just say hypothetically, and this could apply to Trinidad Chambliss too, but we'll just stick with Brendan Sorsby. Let's say that hypothetically, like they played Brendan Sorsby, and I personally don't think he's that great. But let's say, Greg, that he throws for 5,000 yards, rushes for another 1,000, Texas Tech goes undefeated, and whether or not maybe they do get sanctioned from the Big 12 championship, I don't know. I don't know if it's within the CFP's purview to necessarily exclude Texas Tech for Brendan Sorsby. But let's just say they go to the playoff, and let's just say, for fun, let's say that Texas Tech plays Minnesota in the national championship, and you're, got your cherry Coke ready and you're watching, and Texas Tech wins, and Brendan Sorsby, he wins the Heisman, and they have that dream season that Cody Campbell is essentially paying for, right? Well, then the season ends on January 25th, I think. So then let's say February 8th comes around, and now they get to the lawsuit, and it's found that, Brendan Sorsby was ineligible this whole time. So now what they would simply do is vacate the wins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they would vacate the wins. They would, Brendan Sorsby, and let's just say, I don't know how it works, the criminal element of this. Let's say by February 8th, okay, he's found guilty of all the RICO and conspiracy and wire fraud and all that. And let's say he goes to jail. He goes to federal prison.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, but all of that would have happened after the season. So legally, they have doled out the punishment. It's like a retroactive punishment. They vacated the wins. This has happened before in so many things in college football, right? Where they go back and Penn State had this, Alabama's had this. I don't think Michigan had to vacate wins, did they?
No.
Yeah. So but this is a punishment that has happened. So could this potentially be what Cody Campbell is aiming for, where they say, hey, even if there's an asterisk by the championship, even if they had to vacate the wins, well, he got Texas Tech to the top. He got them the publicity that they wanted. And it was worth not only the $5 million, but it was worth all the legal stuff to get Texas Tech that opportunity. Is that a possibility here with this injunction thing?
Sure, and
yeah,
so here, and this is why I keep bringing up these radical ideas that, okay, people are talking. They keep bringing up the Michigan comparison, right? The thing about Michigan was, when it was all said and done, they won the national championship game. There's other differences in that the horse was already out of the barn for the most part when they were caught, all that stuff. But Michigan did not keep going after the Big Ten, right? Whatever, the Big Ten, it could have gotten a lot. I did live shows on it. I did a couple of shows. There's a fracture, da-da-da, this is bad, da-da-da. But then Michigan stood down. If Texas, at the end of all this, if Texas Tech, let's not say they won the national championship, because, they might, but I just think I don't think we have to go to that extreme to get to the extreme part that we want. But let's say they win the Big 12 championship, and they go to the playoffs, they lose the first round, second round, and then, Sorsby has other legal issues involved in this case, involved in him gambling, cross state lines, using people, blah, blah, blah. I don't think the Red Raiders are going to stand down. I don't think they're going to stand down on anything. That is my feeling that I'm getting here. Now, maybe they're just bluffing. Right? But everybody sort of had a sense that Michigan, when they said they were going to appeal this, they never even appealed it. This, I think, if Texas Tech keeps going with this, even if Sorsby plays and if they keep going, I think there could be harm between Texas Tech and the Big 12 that neither of them are going to recover from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think.
100%.
Yeah.
And so that kind of leads to the second thing, regarding the Michigan one. I do remember that part of the Big Ten's explanation that they didn't want to levy greater punishment on Michigan, at least openly, was that technically the student athletes didn't do anything wrong. So they didn't want to punish the student athletes with like a bowl ban or something like that. I don't know if you remember that. Whereas technically in this case, Brendan Sorsby would be like an ineligible player. Like kind of reminds me of like you talked earlier about steroids. Like I don't know if you remember Will Greer. He was like he played at Florida. I think he was at West Virginia. Kind of reminds me of that. And so that kind of goes on to the second thing, Greg, is people talk about integrity, and integrity is doing the right thing even when it's hard. Right? It's one thing to return a wallet with $5 in it, but it's another thing to return a wallet with $500 or $5,000, right? The integrity is sort of inversely proportional to what you stand to benefit and gain. I think in the Big Ten's case with Michigan, like if I was an Ohio State fan or a Penn State or whomever, I would have wanted the hammer to come down to Michigan, like death penalty type of stuff, right? But the league as a whole would stand to suffer a lot that your national champion Michigan team is embarrassed publicly, shamed. The league would suffer financially a lot from that. And I suspect that some of the hesitance in the Big 12 of how to handle this situation is Texas Tech is now one of your bigger brands. And kind of like how Rick said, well, can't you just replace them with UConn? I don't know if Texas Tech, even with the UConn market, I don't know if UConn is valuable enough to replace Texas Tech. And so to me, it's like not just now the integrity of Cody. We've seen what Cody Campbell's integrity is. We've seen what Kirby Hoke cut, and people talk about politicians. I mean, we've known in this country what the integrity of our politicians are for a long time, right?
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, what is the integrity of these other schools in the Big 12? Because I was thinking, Greg, I'll give you an example. In the Mountain West, I think it was like a year or two ago, they had a student athlete who was transgender. And some of the other programs, they believed that it violated the integrity of the sport to have a transgender athlete on the same court as the other female. And what did they do? They forfeited. They said, we're not going to play. If $1 million or $10 million, $12 million was at stake, would they still forfeit? Would they still do the right thing? That to me now is the conundrum with the Big 12, because there's money on the table. The easy thing to do would be to kneel, come out after the coin toss, kneel the ball, and then second half, kneel again. And we're not going to play you, Cody Campbell. We're not going to play you, Texas Tech. We refuse to be on the field with someone like Brendan Sorsby. But will they put their values up front when there's a lot of money on the line? That's kind of the hypothetical question I'll leave you with. Okay. Thanks, man. You have a good one.
You got it. I appreciate it. Great call, sir. That's another thing about the Michigan. It did not have any ineligible players involved. It was not a player-driven. It was a coaching-driven thing. So that's another huge difference.
From
Replica.
Can you hold on for just one moment, please?
Yeah, take my time.
Thank you, sir. I apologize. I gotta clean something up here real quick. One other thing before we get the Replica's call, just to go further on Patreon's call. Yeah, the Big 12 and Brett Yormark, they have to, in one aspect, they have to contemplate the cost, the economic cost of sanctioning Texas Tech and what that might cost and lawyers or maybe the Red Raiders wouldn't the case, and they have to, that's a risk that they have to do. But they also have to contemplate what does the SEC and the Big Ten do if the Big 12 doesn't do anything? Because we're in this environment with the Big Ten and the SEC. Everyone is sitting on a powder keg. And any lighting of a match, no matter if you just lighten it to smoke your cigar, could just lit the whole thing up And that is something that Brett Yormark and the Big 12 presidents have to consider. If they don't do anything, so the cost internally is going to be pretty good because people are going to be pissed. It's going to be pretty big, but the cost outside of the conference could be even larger that would overwhelm any cost that Texas Tech could force upon you. Replica, the floor is yours. Thanks for calling. I do appreciate it, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna try to keep this call under 5 minutes because I was on Bomber's show the other night and kind of gave most of my thoughts and pretty much predicted Texas Tech's response to all this.
Yeah.
I couldn't disagree with the previous caller more. I think this idea that any of this is contingent on, Texas Tech being in that national championship contender and all that, it's nonsense. It's even ridiculous to even think that people would consider that. This is not about winning a national championship and all that. And this idea that Texas Tech is the biggest brand, the Big 12, is laughable. They just won the conference for the first time last year, and they had worse viewership than Colorado, who went 3-9. That's with a playoff game. So they're good and they're the best team in the conference right now, but let's stop acting like they just evolved into this powerhouse brand overnight when you got schools like Kansas State, who won the Big 12 multiple times. Pretty much every school that's not a newcomer has already won it besides Iowa State. So this narrative that they're not going to punish them because they're the biggest brand and all this, you don't even know if they're going to win the league this year.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. So that's the first thing. If people go back and actually read what Ken Paxton put in his letter, he said that they're going to be seeking in excess of $200 million in damages. That's a much bigger concern for the Big 12 than whether or not Texas Tech can win a couple playoff games. Not even just that lawsuit, but the ability to function and do business within the state. So that needs to be taken in consideration. I think what will end up happening is because number one, all these presidents are going to meet on Monday. They're going to have to keep whatever decision they want to make under wraps so it doesn't get leaked. The worst thing that could happen for the conference is a leak right now and have Tech get out in front of whatever action they're going to take. But whatever decision they make, which I agree with you, is probably declaring, hey, any player that's been deemed ineligible by the NCAA cannot participate, or they will forfeit their right to compete in the Big 12 championship game. And they're going to have to go to the court just like Texas Tech did and try to get to a point where they can pick the venue. And because there are multiple states involved, this is going to affect interstate commerce. This is going to end up going to like a federal court, and it's going to have to be litigated there. It's great PR. Of course, Ken Paxton's putting this out because it's an election year and he's trying to retain the seat. But they're not going to just be able to litigate this strictly in Texas just because the Big 12 has headquarters there. You have other state attorney generals, other politicians who have interest in this, and these are mostly state universities. You have some private, but for the most part, these are public universities. And whatever action is taken, I think all this is going to have to be expedited before the season starts. Because if it just comes down to the Texas state courts, they're not going to expedite this. I'm telling you guys this now. It's a good old boy system, and they purposely engineered this outcome and brought in a retired judge so they kick the can down the road. So,
okay, can I ask you a couple questions, Replica?
Go ahead.
Number one, so do I get this right that you believe that the Big 12 would take one, keep it narrow, but take one shot and say, if you play anybody who's ineligible according to the NCAA, which would be Brendan Sorsby, you would not be eligible to play in the Big 12 championship game. That's what you're thinking, right?
It would either that or they would have to argue, damage to the league's reputation, the whole 3.6, which they explicitly tried to argue against in Ken Paxton's letter. So it
So
would have to be one or the other.
okay, so let's pretend, for the sake of discussion, the Big 12, they do the old, if you play Sorsby, who's been found ineligible by the NCAA because he admitted to gambling on his own sport, you are not eligible for the Big 12 championship game. But now this gets litigated, correct? Do you think?
Yes.
Do you think? Of course, none of us really know, but do you think the Red Raiders are going to be playing Brennan Sorsby on Friday night, September 8th? The Red Raiders against the Houston Cougars. Do you think that game will happen? Do you think Sorsby will play in that game?
Unless they can get a ruling to outlaw it, which is why I say they need to go to a federal court,
Yep.
he's going to play. And this whole feigning ignorance and we don't know if he's going to be recovered. It's just ridiculous that they're making a mockery out of mental health. I work for a company that's regulated by the federal government, and part of those regulations is I cannot gamble. So if I was to get caught gambling, I can't say to my employers, I have an addiction. This is going to cause irreparable harm, and I'm not going to be able to provide for my family and just get out of any consequences. So this is using a legal system to engineer a certain result, but ultimately the rule is cut and dry. If you gamble on your own team, you're not supposed to be allowed to play. And running to the court to get an injunction. The judge never said he was innocent or that he was cleared of this wrongdoing. They're granting him temporary relief.
Yeah.
So what the conference is most likely going to have to do is they're going to have to bring forth their own litigation against Sorsby and request that have a federal judge overrule that result. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how long that would take. But my biggest question in all this is, where are the feds? Because he was underage gambling across multiple states and used multiple people to do it, as Mohr outlined a couple days ago. Yeah. They may have their own investigation where they want bigger fish, but why, if we all agree that he's done this, he's admitted to it, where is the consequence?
Yeah.
Like, I get running for an injunction, but where are the feds in all this?
Yeah.
Where are the state, police in Ohio and Indiana? I'm not sure if it's legal to that period, but he was underage.
Yeah.
And then the whole boycotting Texas Tech, I don't think kicking them out of the conference, like, let's be serious. They're not going to do that. Who's going to make the media partners whole if they kick Texas Tech out? Who's going to make the other schools whole?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I get that it's crazy. I get that outcome is crazy. And it's not going to happen. If it ever does happen, it ain't going to happen this year. But this thing could.
Long term, I can, like, let's say the grant of rights comes to 2031. You may have schools in the league who may not want to be associated with
Yeah.
You have many conversations about freedom of association. I can see that. But they're not going to kick them out the league.
Yeah.
But I think this is headed towards federal litigation, and that's where these conversations are right now. They're getting together amongst the presidents. You're probably going to have these state attorney generals reaching out to each other. How do we best go about this? And this is the last thing I'll say before I get off.
Yep.
The loudest person in the room usually isn't the toughest. So keep that in mind. All these people coming out making threats about what they're going to do if they try to keep Sorsby from playing, it sounds good on social media, but it's usually the quiet one that packs the biggest punch. So let's just wait and see what comes out of all of this.
Yeah. All right, man. Beautiful call, Replica.
As always, you're doing a great job. Thank you.
I appreciate it, sir. Legendary. The legendary burnt orange Longhorn Replica. Beautiful call. Thank you very much. We've got ourselves a super chat and 5 gifted memberships. Holy smokes. We got to get to that right now. Mowing After Dark. I know he's going to say something nice to me. I know he's going to say something nice about me.
From
Mohr Simmons.
Mohr Simmons, Mr. Seminole. Can you hold on for a moment? I'm all behind here.
Okay.
I appreciate it, sir. Mowing After Dark, Super Chat, $5 holla. Greg's so cold that when he goes to the bank, he freezes everybody's assets. Mowing After Dark, if I ever got you on a basketball court, I would freeze you. You could not score against me. Or at least Greg Flugard 20 years ago. This year, anybody and everybody can get around me. Thank you, Mowing After Dark. Thank you for the $5 holler. I appreciate your generosity, your friendship. We've got Cranky Tiger. Cranky Tiger. 5 gifted memberships. Holy smokes, Cranky Tiger. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Memberships given out to Robert Gibbs, Big Jack, Rudy, Dave Baumforth, and Brian Short. All of you, all the names that I've just read off, plus Cranky Tiger. All of you are knighted. Cloak and Dagger College Football. Welcome to the family. You can all go to a library of episodes, watch all the episodes, including members-only episodes. Cloak and Dagger, Early P Cloak and Dagger. We just dropped a couple of them a few days ago. We also dropped for everybody, non-members, members, we also dropped episode, I think it was 507, early this morning, called the Sorsby Scam. Go check it out. We already had over 1,000 views a couple of hours ago. A lot of people watched it. So go check it out if you haven't yet. Cranky Tiger, thank you so very much for your generosity, helping us keep the lights on and grow the channel. I very much appreciate it. The gifted memberships, I have so many people who've commented about how they've been able to watch members show. They feel more included because they got a gift from a wonderful person in our family. In Cranky Tiger, you are the wonderful person today. Thank you very much. Mohr Simmons, you are a wonderful person for yet again being patient with me. The floor is yours, sir.
Yes, Greg. Hey, yesterday I called in and I mentioned that the Big 12 will have to take action. Their hands going to be forced to take action. And I'm leaning more towards that the ball going to get rolling where they're going to have to get Texas Tech out of the conference. And the reason why I cite that because the replicable, I can't even pronounce it, the harm that it's doing to the conference right now. You know, and right now, like I said, it's the harm that they're doing to the conference and the other schools. And it's going to force the conference to come together, and they got to speak in one voice with all the presidents to get them out. Now, I know everybody say, well, if you get Texas Tech out, who they going to backfill with? And I'm gonna be honest. I'll put SMU back. I get SMU into the Big 12, and you have the Dallas market. That'd be the smart move.
I don't think SMU wants to pay $129 million to go to the Big 12 at this point. You know,
well, right? But right. But I'm gonna tell you, Greg, they're not gonna make it to the Power 2. And the Big 12, they might have to sweeten the pie for them to come to the Big 12. But I do see where that's possible. You know, everybody got to swallow their pride. And, yes, somebody say Memphis, might get Connecticut. But at the same token, Texas Tech, that's a rogue school right now. If you think you got problems now, and Cody going to be there with Texas Tech. Here's the problem. Like you said, what's going to happen next year or the year after that? Cody ain't going nowhere. Cody already challenging pretty much the leadership of the conference. So, and he got Texas Tech just going along with it. So you got a rogue school that's doing more damage to the conference, and you're gonna have to get it. If not, it'd be like cancer. It'll just spread in the conference. So you're gonna have to get them out of there. And I would say they're going to go, and a lot of people don't think so, but I think they're going to kick them out. It won't be this year. I don't think it'll be immediate, but it'll be next year. I know they'll be out of there. But that's all I got to say, Greg.
You got it, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful call. Morris Simmons. I am fully aware that the expulsion discussions it's too far out there right now. I get it. But again, this is college football, peek around the corner. Hold on.
Call from
CFB Plus.
CFB Plus. Thank you for calling. I'm going to get to what you just sent me here in a moment, okay? And then you can tell me what you think it means.
Okay.
I appreciate you calling. Just give me a moment here. I understand we're talking about something that ain't going to happen now. It probably will never happen, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, this is kind of, nobody's backing down. They might be able to get through this year. But if this is Texas Tech's philosophy, that the bylaws don't mean anything, I mean, it gets to the point where you are so rogue that, and then the question of how valuable is Texas Tech? Yeah, they're valuable within the Big 12. I don't know if UConn would be the school that would replace them. I haven't given it much thought. I haven't had any conversations about this. But I'll say this, there's also a cost in this decision making for Yormark and the presidents. And I keep saying this, and I think people are rolling their eyes at this point, but there's also a cost that they have to evaluate when it comes to what the heck the SEC and the Big Ten are thinking. Like, the Big 12 does not want the SEC and the Big Ten, if they do break away, which is still in question, to do the radical breakaway. To have it only SEC only play with each other, the Big Ten only play with among themselves. The Big 12 cannot afford that. They cannot have that happen. That's a huge cost. So inaction, Big 12 inaction, total inaction might cost the conference more than whatever the Texas Tech courts are going to do to them. They're in a vice. They're absolutely in a vice. CFB Plus, thank you for calling. I'm going to show you what you sent me here. I'm showing this to everybody.
Perfect.
This is Section 7.
Because I was going to talk about that.
Okay, so this is Section 7 of the Big 12 bylaw.
Yes.
Correct? Interpretation.
And I can...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say I can send this whole document to you. I just need an email, but you can do that privately another time.
Yeah, hold on a second. Well, just let me read this to everybody here. Section 7, interpretations and enforcement of rules. Interpretation of rules. A request for an interpretation of a conference rule may be made orally or in writing by a member of the board of directors, FARs, ADs, SWAs, and directors of compliance. The commissioner shall have authority to interpret any conference rule and make any related rulings, or it may refer to the matter to the FARs for action. Also, the board of directors shall have authority to review decisions of the FARs, the sit-down interpretive body, but shall not have authority to vote on matters involving individual students, including their eligibility. The conference staff will provide a written response and circulate the interpretation to the conference memberships. So let me know if you think I've got this right. When it comes to the matters of an individual student athlete eligibility, or when it comes to the matter of interpreting a conference rule, the commissioner, if he or she shall decide that he has the authority and he's going to make the ruling, this gives him a lot of space to make that ruling without any other votes happening. Am I saying that correct, or do I got it wrong?
Are you asking me or just the
I'm
general,
asking you.
audience?
Yes, yeah.
I think so. This is obviously a bunch of legal language and jargon where it gives the commissioner authority, but then it also gives the board of directors and a bunch of other like subcommittees authority. So it's kind of vague.
But it does say, and I get what you're saying. I barely understand any of it, and so it's dangerous for me to take any part of this. But it does say the commissioner shall have authority to interpret any conference rule and make any related rulings, or may refer. He doesn't have to refer, or may refer.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So to me,
So
go ahead.
oh, no. You finish your statement.
I'm just saying, to me, a non-lawyer and original Minnesota moron, to me, it kind of gives the commissioner some leeway in interpreting the rules. But go ahead, sir.
Yes. So obviously I'm no lawyer. I've been reading kind of the bylaws, and I would kind of agree with your statement. I personally don't think Texas Tech has that strong of a legal argument here, because the bylaws are pretty clear and vague, which is key. Because even though Section 7.1 says they can't vote on the eligibility of a particular student athlete, what they can do is determine, like, basically what they can say is if you engage in gambling or sports betting in any capacity, regardless of it, whether it's on your team or whatever, they can say that makes you ineligible. And then that would make Brendan Sorsby ineligible. And then I know this was kind of brought up in a previous call, but I sent you it in 7.4, which is just briefly down. But then it says if a student athlete is ineligible, the commissioner has the authority to prevent them from participating in postseason stuff.
Okay, so this is 7.4?
I think so.
Ineligible participation. The commissioner may impose sanctions when a student athlete participates in a conference contest or championship while ineligible as a result of a violation of conference rule, egregious violation, a violation of an NCAA rule involving institutional culpability that is not subject to the jurisdiction of the NCAA infractions. Results achieved by ineligible student athlete or institution due to the ineligible participation may be vacated. Again,
that's just saying the Big 12 has the authority to prevent Texas Tech from participating in the Big 12 championship game if Sorsby were to play. So basically, all this to say is, I don't think Texas Tech has that strong of an argument, because if they were to challenge the Big 12, they're basically challenging bylaws. And these are pretty I'm not a business guy either, but I would imagine a lot of these bylaws and a lot of the rules are fairly similar.
Yeah.
Like from a legal standpoint, they just change the language to fit the situation.
These are written
And
up by
so-
lawyers. Yep. An egregious violation of a conference rule. Well, a violation of the NCAA rule involving institutional culpability. That's not really this part of it. That first one, though, an egregious violation of a conference rule. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Well, the bylaws do say that they have eligibility is you have to be NCAA eligible in order to be, I think, eligible for the conference. I don't know how. I think that's where things get muddy with the whole injunction challenging the NCAA eligibility stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think my point is if you challenge the Big 12's bylaws, because if regardless of whether the NCAA has authority, I think it's kind of been established that conferences have more authority because they're smaller entities. It's a voluntary conglomeration of schools and universities. So if you were to challenge that, then you're going to basically challenge every other bylaw that exists or every other organization. Like HOAs have bylaws and they're able to enforce penalties and fines on people for violating those bylaws. So I don't know Texas Tech's argument here from a legal standpoint. If the Big 12 wants to fine them, which I think is probably the smartest option, because I think that opens up less legal litigation. But I mean, what do I know?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see Tech really do anything. And if they were to sue, this is going to take years. We already saw Florida State and Clemson suing the ACC, and that took a year and a half for them to settle. By the time, and the Big 12 has no incentive to get this done quickly if they're the defendant in this case, which they would be. By the time this would be done and dusted, this would be 2030.
Yeah.
And Sorsby's well gone.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think it's more of a posturing from Tech, and I think it's dumb, but I don't think they have a ton of legal standing here. Now, and that's the thing is the Big 12 can sanction Tech, but they may not be able to sanction Sorsby unless they address the ineligibility part via gambling.
Mm-hmm.
But so there's a non-zero chance that Sorsby plays, but Tech gets punished. Which, if that were to be the case, might be the happy medium for punishing Tech, keeping rules, and then obviously probably going forward, reestablishing eligibility guidelines so this didn't happen again in the future. But you keep Tech in place. I think expulsion is just so far off the deep end right now.
Yep.
It's not a realistic option.
Yep.
And then if Sorsby does play and you were to punish Tech, that would be a TV ratings goldmine. I mean, we saw what happened with Colorado and Dion. Sorsby and Tech already is taking over the media space. Sorsby playing and potentially even going to playoffs would be just a media goldmine for the Big 12. So
it would be a media goldmine for the media companies. I don't think it would be a goldmine for the Big 12 because they're not going to get they're not going to get the extra money that I don't. It's not going to be sustainable, right? You know what I'm saying?
True, but that's just
it will help
yeah.
the numbers, and if they can build next year out, you know what I'm saying. But if it's just a flash,
yeah.
You know,
it's a flash, but it's a flash that certainly helps with exposure and just overall brand identity. But
yeah.
That's kind of an aside. I really don't think Tech has has all that much, and it's just a kind of a bluff.
Yep.
But that's all I got. If you have any questions, happy to send you more.
You got it, buddy.
screenshots.
I'll contact you, DM. I appreciate your help, sir.
All right, thank you.
Beautiful job, my man.
Yeah, no problem.
Wow. Excellent. OBD done. Massive super chat. And yes, I was thinking about OBD done. I was thinking about him. I'll tell you in a second what I was thinking about. Massive super chat. OBD done. Purple and gold. OBD done. Part 1 of 3. Great. I was contacted again and woken by the individual known as Silo Mountain Man this morning regarding our previous disconnection. I hung up on him, if you recall. I guess that's part 1 of 3. Let me tell you what I was thinking, OPD done. I was working on Silo Mountain. I was working on the SCC climber that's almost up to the peak of the mountain. But I was also trying to work with your avatar, and I was trying to get you in the AI picture. I'm still working on it. I've been so busy today. But yes, OPD done. I've been thinking about you, trying to get you on that Silo Mountain along with the climber and have you say something. So anyways, I'm thinking about it. Thank you, OPD Don. Thank you for the $25 holler. Greg, I was contacted again and woken by the individual known as Silo Mountain this morning regarding a previous disconnection. I hung up on him, if you recall. Joe Long is in the house. Joe Long, the Irishman, if I got my memory correct, which maybe I don't. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they're looking at all the silo talk. They're looking at the SCC possibly only playing each other. Big Ten might be doing the same. Notre Dame, what are you going to do, Notre Dame, if everybody goes silo? What if everybody goes silo? Yes, he is the Irish. He is the Irishman. I'm Irish. I'm a black-haired Irish. But I'm a golden gopher, baby. I'm a golden gopher. Part 2, OBD done. A massive super chat, incredible support from the purple and gold. My goodness. After I provided an explanation, he informed me that drone surveillance and GPS data indicate further expansion of the mountain. Oh. The mountain is bigger than first believed. In other words, let me know if I got this correct. Climbing up Silo Mountain is not a mountain it's a bigger mountain. There's a mountain size that can accommodate 16 climbers climbing up the mountain. But I think what Opie's saying, and I might be completely wrong, I think Opie is saying that the drone surveillance, you fly the drones over the mountain, over the peak, you're trying to find out the best way to get up the mountain, and the GPS data is indicating the expansion of the mountain. The mountain is bigger than anybody imagined. There could be more climbers climbing. There could be more climbers joining the Silo Mountain to get to the top of the peak. OPD Don, let me know if I got it correct. You do not have to. I know you're doing a story, so You might have another super chat. You might not have, but you don't have to answer me in a super chat. You've been incredibly generous. I am so very humbled by your incredible generosity, helping us keep the lights on, grow the channel. We got new lights. We got new everything here because of OPD Dunn and the generosity of the PATC family. But is that what you're talking about when you're saying further expansion of the mountain? Or do you just want to do some more climbing? Because OPD Dunn wants to be on... Oh, we got another one. We got a massive super chat. $50 holler. My goodness. He claimed to possess additional information, but he cautioned that disclosing it would result in my mandatory relocation to the Big 10 Conference, and OPD Dunn does not want that to happen. Given that I lack appropriate cold weather attire and struggle with basic arithmetic, I will remain quiet. OPD Dunn's got some information here. OPD Dunn, now let's go through the story. OPD Dunn was contacted again and woken by an individual known as Silo Mountain. He had informed me that he had done drone surveillance. GPS data indicated a further expansion of the mountain. He claimed to possess additional information. In other words, who is climbing that Silo Mountain? Who is going to be able to get on that mountain and climb it with the LSU Tiger, with the Georgia Bulldog, with the Mississippi State, Hell State Bulldogs? He cautioned that disclosing it would result in my mandatory relocation. So OPD Dunn cannot leak this out. Not yet. Not yet. But we're going to be working on Opie. It doesn't matter that cold weather attire. It's warm in Minnesota. Don't worry about it, Opie. It's warm in 12 months of the year. I've been lying to you. I've been lying. It's warm all the time. Okay. OPD Dunn. Keep everybody keep your eyes open, your ears open. OPD Dunn might be having some more information for all of us in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead. Thank you so much, OPD Dunn, for first of all your entertainment and your incredible generosity. Thank you. Very kind. I'm very humbled. The little general and I are very humbled by all of your help. Yeah, the little general. Wow, so kind and generous. And Maria, and OPD Dunn, the purple and gold, is incredibly creative, which is what we like here at college football's peak around the corner. Just having fun. I would love to climb, but I'm afraid of heights. OPD Dunn, I'm going to have you on the mountain. I'm going to use that little avatar, and I might butcher. Look, you might not be happy, OPD Dunn. And if you're not happy, I'll quickly, I'll change up the, but you're going to be on the mountain. You are going to be on that Silo Mountain. I'm just not exactly sure what your character is going to be doing. But thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Hit the like for our beloved Golden Gopher. Joe Long, the Irishman. Thank you so very much. Can you give us an insight into what the wonderful dinner Maria is preparing? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yeah. Mireya Hernandez Garcia Flugar is making my favorite my favorite dinner, my favorite food. She's making chili relleno. And it is I never had it before until I married my wife. It's poblano pepper, cheese inside poblano pepper, no meat. No cheese and meat together, cheese inside of a poblano pepper, roasted with her tomato, beautiful liquefied, purified creation, pours it over the poblano pepper with her beautiful orange rice. It's poblano pepper. Ladies and gentlemen, for you Americanos, for you who do not have real Mexican cuisine in your life, the poblano pepper, if done correctly, is the best food in the world. It is the best food in the world. And when you go to a Mexican restaurant and you order the chili relleno, the cheese is melted all over the place. Maria, the cheese is hot, melted, but it's still solid inside the poblano pepper. In other words, it's not reheated in a microwave like the restaurants do. It is the best dinner. It is the best food in the world. And that tonight, Maria is making it. Now, why is she making it? Because she wants to be nice to her husband. She loves the food. But Mexico defeated South Africa 2-0 in the first game of the World Cup. And we're celebrating that victory, everybody. We're celebrating that victory. Thank you, Maria Hernandez Flugar. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Cranky Tiger says it sounds amazing. It is amazing. Taytown Hawk. Greg, new bet. You must eat cheeseburger poblano. Sure. I'll eat a cheeseburger poblano with no meat. Taytown Hawk. My wife's favorite restaurant is a Mexican one. Yep. Maria says we are celebrating. Yes, we are. So, Rock and Rant, and no Taco Bell and Taco John's do not count as real Mexican food. True, authentic Mexican food. Absolutely. But like Maria says, we're going to celebrate. So we're going to shut this down. We've been on the air for 2 hours and 32 minutes talking about the fracture in the Big 12. And for those who say I'm being unfair, come on, man. I did a bunch of live shows talking about the Big 10 fracture in 2 different stories. This is a Big 12 fracture. This is a big one. And it is a Grand Canyon size one. Rock and Rant talked about on College Football Mafia show last night. I mean, Texas Tech, Cody Campbell, Kirby Holcutt, you've got the Attorney General coming out today. They're not standing down. And the Big 12 cannot afford to stand down. The cost, the pain that Texas Tech can inflict upon the Big 12 probably isn't going to measure up to the pain and the cost that the other conferences could inflict on the Big 12 if they do not act. So I expect the Big 12 to act. I expect the Texas Tech not to be eligible for the Big 12 championship game according to the Big 12. I don't know what the courts are going to do. And I expect there not to be any detente. I don't think things are going to cool down. I do not think we're going to have a pause in this war. I think it's going to get a little bit more dangerous every single day. And here at Peek Around the Corner, we're going to cover that and everything else in college football. Again, today, our spotlight team was the Illinois Fighting Illini. Caton Hauser, Laffrey, Valentine. I think Valentine is going to get to another level this year. Hudson Clement, he's got to get back to the level that he was a couple of years ago at West Virginia. Matthew Bailey is going to be the defensive captain of the team, the big safety. The Fighting Illini was our 48th team that we here at Peek Around the Corner has done a spotlight during the offseason. Tomorrow's going to be team number 49. What is the team? I don't know. You're going to have to watch. You're going to have to find out yourself. Again, before you leave, smash the like button if you liked our content. Subscribe. Ring the notification bell. Keep your head on a swivel. We'll see you tomorrow. From all of us at PATC to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. And again, thank you. The Zero Wiz, Stormy Cyclone, Studzilla, T-Town Hawk, Busoff, Heartbreak 25, Mowing After Dark, Cranky Tiger for those gifted memberships. Thank you so very much. And of course, the 3 massive super chats from a very good, unbelievable, generous person, OBD Dunn, Purple and Gold. Thank you all. We'll see you tomorrow. Again, God, family,